What you need is a step-by-step, hands-on, proven process that takes you from starting to write the paper through, the whole process of writing it, revising it, and then the whole submission process. It needs to be much more task-based. Most academic writing courses suck. Like, they're really, really bad. And here are 10 reasons why, so that you can avoid these academic writing courses that have exactly these characteristics. And you want to stick around until the end of the video, because reason 10 is actually the most important one and the most counterintuitive and the most surprising reason as well, that most people, I think, don't talk about. So I hope that by going through this list, you'll understand what academic writing course you should choose and which academic writing courses to actually avoid, so that you can make a more informed decision and write better papers or write a better PhD thesis, whatever goal you're pursuing. And if you're new here, my name is Marek Kiczkowiak and I run Academic English Now, where we help PhD students and researchers write and publish research papers in top Scopus-Indexed journals. So what is the first reason why so many academic writing courses are really, really bad? It's the fact that it's one size fits all problem. What do I mean by that? Well, basically, there are a lot of academic writing courses that are done for everybody. Meaning, bachelor students, master students, PhD students, researchers, random people who just want to learn academic writing. And this one size fits all is one of the main reasons why so many academic writing courses just don't work. Think about it. The way you would write an essay or a paper on a bachelor's level differs completely from how you'd write an assignment on a master's level, and that differs completely from how you'd write a thesis on a master's level, and then a PhD dissertation or thesis, and then a research paper or a systematic review or a meta-analysis. These are all completely different things. So that's why taking this sort of one-size-fits-all approach is really, really bad. And you can easily avoid it by just looking at the course description. So you want to choose a course that clearly states for whom it is. Is it for PhD students? Is it for researchers? And what specifically does it help you to achieve? Does it help you to write an assignment as a bachelor student, or does it help you to publish research papers in top Scopus-Indexed journals? Because these will be completely different things and they will make the course completely different as well. Now, the second reason why so many academic writing courses suck is a very short time frame. So when I used to teach on academic writing courses at some universities, you would, for example, enroll students for, let's say, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or maybe a month. And within that time frame, they were supposed to write a paper. But the problem was that some people would come in with like research findings ready, and maybe they could potentially write the paper in 3 weeks, but other people had nothing and they couldn't really write anything during that time. And also that short time frame basically meant that you could hardly help people to achieve their goals. And once the 3 weeks or the 4-week course was over, what would happen is that, people would go back to the labs doing experiments, and they would inevitably forget about what they learned in the course. And when the time came to actually write more papers, they would be stuck again and having the same challenge. So that short time frame is also another problem, unless you really have your results ready and everything ready, and you just want to write one paper and you want to do it in like 4 weeks and spend really intensive writing time. But other than that, for like most PhD students or researchers, that's just not going to work. Now, the third reason, which is kind of related to time as well, but it's completely opposite, is lifetime access. So there are also a lot of online courses, especially, on things like Coursera and Udemy, that offer you basically lifetime access to an online course, videos, materials that you can download and use for however long you want to use. In my experience, the reason why this doesn't work is that people will quickly get demotivated. There is no deadline to work towards. And as a result, unless you're like a highly self-disciplined and self-motivated individual, your motivation will start dipping very quickly, and you will, come 2 months or 1 month into the course, you'll forget about it and you'll stop doing it. And then I promise you that you won't come back to it. So the fact that you have lifetime access is actually, in my opinion, demotivating. So with those 2 points, what sort of courses you should be looking for? I think you should be looking for courses that have a frame from, let's say, 6 months to 12 months. Why? Because this really allows you to achieve not only a very small short-term goal, like for example, we help clients to write the first and submit the first paper from scratch in 42 days, which is 6 weeks. So that they allow you to achieve a short-term goal, but they also allow you to achieve longer-term goals. For example, on our program Research Paper Master, we also help researchers to submit at least 3 papers to Scopus-Indexed journal. Sometimes they manage to submit 4 or 5, but at least 3 is our promise. And we do that over a span of 12 months because it wouldn't be possible to do in 3 weeks or in 4 weeks. That's just not going to happen. So look for those courses that have between 6 to 12 months, I think, so that you can achieve your short-term and your long-term goals. Now, the fourth reason why so many academic writing courses fail, be it at university or online, is that there is no ongoing support. So what I mean by that is that you have this one type of online courses that I've already mentioned, like on Udemy or Coursera, where basically what happens is that you get access to some sort of online materials, videos and stuff like this, but there is no support and there is no interaction, there's no feedback, there is no coaching, there is no nothing, right? And then you have this other type of course that, you know, might be face-to-face, where you have like live classes and all that, maybe at a university. But once the course finishes, your support finishes as well. So if you haven't finished writing that paper, that's it. And also, like outside of those classes, let's say maybe, you know, you have 3 academic writing classes a week, but outside of those classes, you get no support, you get no feedback or anything like it. That lack of ongoing support for longer periods of time, let's say 6 or 12 months, to really achieve your goals is a big problem as well. So when you're selecting academic writing courses, you should definitely look for something that does have this long-term, ongoing, regular support for you. Now, the fifth reason why so many academic writing courses I find really suck is this sort of generic academic writing advice that they give. It's kind of connected to the one-size-fits-all, that the advice that is provided is supposed to work for, you know, any type of paper, any type of thesis, any type of essay that you're writing. But obviously that sort of like generalized advice doesn't really exist. You need to get specialized advice that will work for your particular type of paper, your thesis, or your current situation. Generic type of advice isn't really going to help you. Now, this is connected to reason number 6 why so many academic writing courses don't work. And that reason is that they end up being very theoretical. So when I taught on many academic writing courses at different universities, what I noticed that a lot of the focus was on grammar, language issues, and, you know, very theoretical things on how to structure a paragraph, what is coherence and stuff like this, you know, when to use particular grammar tenses, and lots of sort of gap fill exercises, you know, on paper where, you know, you had to fill in the right word or put the word in the correct tense and stuff like this. But that sort of theoretical advice doesn't really work. What you need is a step-by-step, hands-on, proven process that takes you from starting to write the paper through, you know, the whole process of writing it, revising it, and then the whole submission process. You know, it needs to be much more task-based and helping you to solve the different tasks that you encounter along the way as you're writing the paper, not helping you to find out which grammar tense you're supposed to use. So that theoretical advice is another reason why so many academic writing courses fail, I think. And if you want to work specifically with us, then schedule a completely free one-to-one consultation. We're going to go over your specific academic writing needs, identify what challenges you have, what goals you need to achieve in what time frame, and then we'll personalize a service just for you that will help you to achieve those goals faster. And the link to that free consultation is right below this video. Now, reason number 7 is that very often these academic writing courses are taught by people who have no experience whatsoever publishing papers. Many of these courses are also taught by people who do not have a postgraduate degree and don't have a PhD. Some of them might have a master's degree, But how can you be teaching a course on publishing research papers? How can you be teaching a course on how to write a PhD thesis if you don't have a PhD thesis? It's a little bit like teaching somebody how to swim where you've never set your foot and arms and your whole body in water. Or the last time you did it was 20 years ago. It's just not going to work. Like, you can't learn swimming from a book. If I want to learn something, if I want to learn a new skill, say, I wanted to bulk up in the gym, I wouldn't want to learn that from a fat trainer or somebody who doesn't go to the gym on a regular basis. And it's the same with writing papers or writing a thesis. You want to be learning it from someone who has done a PhD thesis and they can prove it, who has published papers, preferably recently, and they can prove it as well. Otherwise, that academic writing course is likely going to suck. Now, reason number 8 is live classes. And this might sound totally counterintuitive, After all, most teaching has always been done in live classes. The problem with live classes, though, is that first, you've got to show up at a given hour in a given classroom. So let's say, you're a very busy PhD student or a researcher. You've got to do lab work, supervise other students, analyze data. You've got all sorts of stuff going on. It's a full-time job. Like, how are you going to ensure that you show up to enough classes, at a given time? That's very difficult, and inevitably you're going to start missing classes, meaning you're going to learn less and you're going to get frustrated and drop out. Another problem with live classes is that it assumes that everybody going into the course is at the same stage of learning and they want to do the same things in the same order. However, this, in my experience, is never true. When you get a group of 20 PhD students, some of them, might be in the last year, some of them might be in the first year, some of them don't have a research topics, others, have 4 weeks to write a research paper. This basically means that many of the classes, of the live classes, will not be applicable to you at that given moment. To give you a more specific example, let's say you have a 6-week academic writing courses, that's supposed to teach you how to write a master's thesis. And in lesson 2, you're writing the methodology section, but you haven't even designed your study. So you don't even have a research question. So how are you supposed to write the methodology section if you don't even have a research question? That's just not going to happen. And then, you might be, on the other hand, you might be somebody who has already written the methodology and you're now on the conclusion section. So similarly, that won't be relevant to you at all. So that's why I think, there is a big problem with live classes, and you want to look for something that is asynchronous, where you have access to the materials basically 24/7 on a needs basis. But importantly, it also offers some sort of live support with coaches who can guide you live. Because otherwise, if you just have access to materials that you can watch, you're not going to watch them, or you're not going to know how to apply them. So you do need live support from coaches, but I don't think live classes in the traditional sense of things actually work. Now, the last 2 reasons. Reason number 9 is fixed schedule. What I mean by that is that, the course starts on July 21st at 9 a.m. and then it finishes on August 28th at 6 p.m. or whatever it is. That fixed time frame will not work for most people, because you will be busy with your work, with your lab, and you might need to drop out for a week or 2 because you need to do field work. And that fixed schedule can also put a lot of pressure on people. When you have got to attend classes at fixed times, let's say Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 p.m. always, and if you don't, you've missed that class and that's it, it's gone. I don't think that works nowadays. There is a much better approach to that. Reason number 10, which is the last one and the most counterintuitive, I think, the most surprising reason that I think a lot of people don't really talk about, is that most academic writing courses are either for free for university students at universities. If you're a PhD student, you'll probably have academic writing centers, free courses, stuff like this. Or they're very cheap. If you go on Coursera or if you go on Udemy, you can do an academic writing course for $9, $19, $49, $59. And you might be wondering, why is that a problem? Surely it's good that academic writing courses are free or cheap. Now, of course it's good because it allows more people to learn the skills that they need to learn. And I am a big believer in sort of free knowledge and giving knowledge away to people for free to empower people, which is really why I make these YouTube videos, to empower you and help you for free. However, the problem with free or very cheap courses is that they're demotivating. I mean, think about it. If something is free, how likely are you actually to put a lot of effort, and it's going to take a lot of effort to write your research paper and finish that course? I mean, how many free stuff have you downloaded from the internet and never looked at? How many free YouTube videos have you seen and then forgotten all about them? If something is very cheap, like $9 or $19, it's exactly the same. You pay for it and you forget about it, and then you don't do it. On the other hand, in my personal experience, whenever I paid big money for a course, I was really, really motivated to do it, because I invested so much into it that I went through everything, and I wanted to learn everything in this course, and I knew there was no option to fail, just because, I kind of drew a metaphorical line in the sand and, went all in on something. If you go all in on something, you're so much more likely to actually do it, be disciplined, and be motivated. When something is free as well, or very cheap, it cannot be that good. I mean, in general, of course, there are exceptions, but in general, think about it. How many free products or very cheap products can you think of that are actually really good? I mean, there is a good reason why, the latest iPhone costs what it costs. Because it's the best phone. Of course you can get a phone for $200, but it's not going to be anywhere near as good as the best iPhone or as the best Samsung. That's just a fact, So if you want to get access to the best, not the cheapest service, but the best service, you cannot just make a decision by price. Because there is a good reason why stuff is cheap, because it's of poor quality. And as a rule of thumb, stuff that is expensive, it's usually much better quality. So I hope these 10 reasons will help you to avoid really crappy academic writing courses and help you select much better courses. And if you want to work specifically with us, then schedule a completely free one-to-one consultation. We're going to go over your specific academic writing needs, identify what challenges you have, what goals you need to achieve in what time frame, and then we'll personalize a service just for you that will help you to achieve those goals faster. And the link to that free consultation is right below this video.